Hello, you're listening to Mike Madden on the Art Show podcast. Here you will find interviews with authors, musicians, artists and anyone else in and around the arts. Some of the interviews are taken direct from the Art Show on Expat Radio, with one or two specials in between. This show features the Queen of Rock and Roll, Suzi Quatro. Suzi talks about making an album with her son and her DVD, Suzi Q. Hello, this is Mike Madden on the Art Show, and tonight my guest needs absolutely no introduction. I'm delighted to welcome to the show the Queen of Rock and Roll, Suzi Quatro.
Hi, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well, and it's fantastic to speak to you because your latest album was released in 2019, No Control, with an extensive tour, and you're showing no signs of slowing down whatsoever. So what inspires you to keep producing the top quality rock and roll?
I do think this is one of the best albums of my career. My son had a lot to do with it, written, recorded, and produced with him. And he had a vision on this, and he actually said to me, I want to remind you who you are. Interesting. So, we didn't expect this. We were just having fun making a few demos. First time we've written together. And then all of a sudden we were making something very serious. I'm really proud of this album. And we put some songs in the set now, and it's great. Do you have a favorite?
I particularly love the single No Soul, No Control. I thought that was a fantastic track.
Yeah. In fact, that particular track, if you ask me if I've ever written a song that is 100% me, that's it.
Right.
That's the one. What it says in the song, that is me. That's who I am. Yeah, I got to hold on to me. You can even hear me saying it just the way I say it. and it was a riff my son showed me, and he was a little bit nervous to show me because he thought it might have been a little bit like too heavy or something, and he played it, and I said, oh, wow, what a riff. It's a great riff. And I said, okay, put that down on the track. Just play that, and I'll take it in the studio that we used, Mike, who was part of the production too. I took it into his bedroom where he lives there, and within 20 minutes, I had the song. Fantastic.
And working with your son, how much of that was a proud mum moment, and how much did it turn into strictly business?
Well, I am the kind of person, since I come from a musical family anyway, I am used to working with family members. My ex-husband was my guitar player, so it's not weird for me. It was more weird for my son. And we were sitting down in the studio. I tell this story because it's so funny. So we've written the first song together. We've never written before, so it's an unusual situation. He's sitting across from me with his guitar. I've got the microphone up doing a scratch vocal, playing my bass. And we were putting down Don't Do Me Wrong, which was the first track we wrote together. And he just stopped playing in the middle of the track. I said, what's the matter? He said, all of a sudden I'm in the studio with Suzi Quatro. And I know what he meant. And so I just let it pause, and I said, and he said, nothing, let's go. It was a moment for him where he had to stand up and be counted. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure that was strange for him. But relationships do not come into my working environment.
Yeah, it's a memorable moment, but it's also a memorable result. So you must be really proud of that.
Oh, God, yes. He had a clear vision, I have to say. He was quite strong. There were, of course, you're going to have things that you argue sometimes and blah, blah, blah. But when he had something in his head, he stuck to his decision, And I didn't know he was so strong. But we made a great album together. That's the main thing. We made a great album together that we can both be very proud of.
There's another track on the album called Strings that's got a horn arrangement in it, which is a little unusual. But so how do you figure out what makes it and what doesn't make it into that album? Is it kind of yourself and your son, or is there a big input from your producer?
Every song that's on that album is on there because it's supposed to be. I made once we knew 3 demos in that we were making this album, I then said, this is organic. I said, I told the 2 guys, Mike and my son Richard, I said, I don't want to try to write anything. I don't want to try to turn this song this way. I don't want to do anything but just let the song speak. That's why there's such a variety on the album. So every song is on there because it needs to be, because it's got its own voice. But with Strings, That's a funny story. I have horns in my band. I have a horn section. Yeah, I've got Ray Beavis, who is my sax man, and he does the arrangements. And I knew already when we were, and Richard and I discussed, we should have horns on this, horns on that, da 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 da. So I played Ray the songs at a gig. Here's the songs I think horns should go on. And I sang him what I heard in my head for the horns and blah, blah, blah. And then I said, oh, Ray, you got to hear this other track. I said, it's just people are loving this. And I played him strings. I didn't tell him I wanted horns on this. I just played it for him. And he said, Suzi, do you mind if I do an arrangement on this? I said, you're kidding me. I said, on strings? I don't hear that. He said, Suzi, I want to do an arrangement. And I tell you what, let me do it. And if you don't like it, you don't pay for my time. I went, oh, now that's interesting. So that meant he was very sure. Okay. So I let him do it. And when he did it in the studio, we had a whole day of horn recording. And he said, okay, let me do strings now. And he blew me away. It blew me away. I said, Ray, all the other stuff I gave him, I knew horns were going to go on. This one, I had no idea. I didn't see how he could enhance it, but enhance it he did. And everybody, every reviewer has picked out the horn arrangement on strings. So there you go. You can be wrong. I didn't hear it, and he did.
Right, it is a great one. It does stand out to me. And the album's got 11 new songs plus bonus tracks with the CD, etc. And it's a few years since your last sort of original album as Suzi Quatro. So is this the start of more golden years for your career, including your son?
I mean, the last one was in the spotlight with Mike, and then I had the QSP out in 2017, Quatro, Scott and Powell. Yeah, and this one is just, you know, it was, God, I felt like me again. Really felt like me again. I haven't enjoyed making an album like this for years and years and years. I was able to express myself totally. In fact, the funniest part was I'm in there doing a vocal, and I'm waiting for the button to be pushed for the producer to tell me what to try and give me direction. And I realized that no button was going to go down because I was producing it with my son. And I went, oh my! And that's why I called the album No Control, because nobody had any control. And when I sent it to Mike Chapman, the first thing he said back was, great production. I went, oh my God, I did it myself. Oh my God. Wow. Wow, what a compliment.
And another new career beckoning. You mentioned the Andy Scott and Don Powell collaboration a couple of years ago, and in an industry that's often where people come and go, it must have been such fun to create a collaboration with old friends like that.
Oh, just brilliant. We always wanted to do it, but we were always so busy, and then it finally happened, and it was actually my husband's idea, because we were having a discussion about, you know, people I could play with about. He said that would be a fabulous group, and I said, yes, it would be. And we went in there with no blueprint. We didn't know what we were going to do because the band didn't exist. So what we did was we all picked 2 cover versions each to start off the game, you know. And from the first time we sat down, it just worked, you know. And we did it charted in Australia, got to number 16 there. We'd like to do another, maybe we will. There were some wonderful songs on there. There was some that Andy and I wrote together. There's one on there called Broken Pieces Suite that I call my masterpiece because it is. I'll never write another song like that again. And my son thinks strings is my masterpiece. But now I'm working on my next project. Still promoting this, of course. I just finished an album with KT Tunstall, so we're going to be putting that out shortly. And I'm now writing again. And I'm going into the studio again with my son. And we're going to write some more stuff. I'm hoping to do an album with my daughter, who's a fabulous singer. And I want her to do songs that I've written that I think she could do better than what I did. You know, some that you haven't heard. So I've got, and the documentary's out now, of course, Suzi Q. That's been smashed everywhere. Saturation. And it got such rave reviews that I'm now doing a movie of my life.
Right, that's amazing. I was going to come back to the documentary because I know there were screenings in Australia and New Zealand. It's now available on DVD, and it traces your career all the way back to the Pleasure Seekers. Whose idea was that, and did you retain sort of artistic control over it?
I had editing rights, but to be honest, I wanted it to be, and if you've seen it, you'll know this is true. And it's been on Sky Arts, and it's been at 52 cinemas around the UK, with 7 premieres that I did where I attended Q&A in the UK, and it's now going in America. I go there at the end of the month, at the end of March. I told the director that I'm only on board if it's a true documentary. I said, sure, there's going to be some people giving you compliments, of course, but I want warts and all. And I only made one criteria, and I said, if it's true, it's in, but lies will not go in my documentary. But if it's true, even if it's a cringe moment where I want to crawl out of the theater, it stays in. And if you've seen the film, you know that's true. It is so open, it's so honest, and it is warts and all.
It is, and particularly, when you see the stars that also contribute, as you say, people are going to say nice things about you. But for people like Debbie Harry and Joan Jett and Alex Cooper to that must make you really proud to know that what they think of you.
It made me so proud that every time I see the film, I cry. Because it's humbling. You're up there and you're seeing all these people talking about it. You go, and my first thought always is, oh my God, I did all that. Oh, wow. You go like a little girl, But yes, I'm humbled by it. Absolutely humbled.
We're going to go to a break now. And as we've been talking about your album, we're going to go to No Soul, No Control. This is Suzi Quatro.
If you think I'm wrong, if you think I'm right, gotta play it strong, gotta put up a fight. Keep it close at hand till you understand. You can't take the biggest part, it's not in my plan. I gotta hold on to me. I gotta hold on to me. Save me, save me, save me, save me. I gotta hold on to me.
this is Mike Madden on the Art Show, and tonight I'm delighted to welcome back to the show Suzi Quatro.
It's great to be here.
That was No Soul, No Control from your latest album, No Control, and you're still touring extensively. And are you conscious of what your fans want on the tour? So do they want Can McCann, or do they really appreciate the No Soul, No Control?
Oh, they love the new stuff. Oh, wow. God, yeah, I have 4 songs, sometimes 5 from the new album in there. But I do 2-hour shows, okay? I have an interval. I do 2-hour shows, and you get the whole rainbow. You get everything, all your favorite album tracks, all your favorite hits, right up to date with the new stuff. And I end the show after crazy, swinging from the rafters and screaming the place down in the audience. I end with Heart on the Line, which is a ballad.
Yes, indeed. It is a ballad.
And the people from the cheering, then they got tears in their eyes. And what a wonderful way to end an evening. Oh, it's just wonderful. And I love that song. It's one of my favorite songs ever to sing.
It is a great way to leave the audience, and it's something that they would definitely remember and make them want to come back again.
Absolutely. And I am an entertainer in my heart and soul. That's who I am.
It's interesting when I look at I see your reviews and that kind of thing of concerts, and you're very popular in Germany as well as down under, as well as in the UK and America. So do you find that audiences have their own personalities? For instance, could you instantly tell that you're playing in Germany or in Australia?
I wouldn't say that you can tell the country, but what I said something years ago, and I didn't know Elvis had said it, but he did. Every single audience is a different animal. You can never, and you can never walk out and assume that because you killed them last night, that you're going to kill them tonight. That's a really dangerous thing to think. So I treat each audience as if I'm meeting them for the first time. Hello, I get to know them. I find out what they need. I feel them. I see them. I'm part of that audience until I leave the stage, and they get every single ounce of me. And I never shortchange them.
It's a great attitude to take, and I didn't know that was said by Elvis either. But if we go back to Elvis, in the early days, he was a definite inspiration to you, and there's plenty of covers of his tracks on your back catalogue, as well as the marvellous Singing with Angels with James Burton and the Jordanaires.
Isn't that a nice song? Oh,
it's wonderful, absolutely wonderful song, and probably a lot of our listeners might not have heard that song, so I urge you to go and find Singing with Angels and play it. But with so many greats passing away, such as Bowie, Prince, Freddie Mercury, who do you see as the musical inspirations for the next sort of decade? So if Suzi Quatro was 10 years old today, who would be her inspiration musically?
Oh, Christ. Oh, if I was 10. Oh, my God. Who would I go for? That's a hard one. I like Kid Rock. I like Keane. I like Adele. I love Ed Sheeran's songwriting.
Yeah.
I like Red Hot Chili Peppers. I like AC/DC. I just like good music, basically.
It's good enough for me. Now, you've been inducted into the Michigan Rock and Roll Legends Hall of Fame, and I don't think I'm alone in thinking it's absolutely scandalous that you've not been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I talk about it all the time. And in fact, there's a real campaign going on right now with my DVD coming out there, my documentary. And I went on record. Billboard interviewed me for this album, and they said that, and so I went on record as saying, well, I mean, I don't want to make a career like complaining about it, but to me, it really kind of is a no-brainer.
It absolutely is. When you see some of the other names in there, not to sort of put them down, but
no. You know what? I said it and I mean it. Whoever is in there, great. I have no problem with who's in there, but you don't not honor the first one of that genre, and that's me. There was nobody before me doing that. So that organization needs to get their finger out because it is a no-brainer.
I think it actually devalues the institution the longer that you're not in it. So here's hoping that the DVD spurs them on to doing the right thing.
Let's hope it. Okay. Let's hope that they fix it soon.
Now, one honour that you did get was the Doctor of Music at the Anglia Ruskin University in Cambridge.
I'm Dr. Quattro.
Yeah, absolutely. Wonderful, wonderful award, or honour. And so how did you get to find out about that? And was it a big university ceremony with all the pomp and circumstance?
Well, they contacted me and said, we'd like to present you with this. Will you accept? I said, are you kidding me? My feet didn't touch the ground. And I had on the cap and the gown, and I gave this speech, and I was in tears, and it was one of the most wonderful moments of my life, because I didn't even graduate high school.
Wow.
So, and I'm Doctor. I have the jokes that I say on stage. I say, the funniest thing about being Dr. Quattro is I don't have any patience. And also, I say, I am Dr. Quattro. Next time, make an appointment, But I love it. I love having that. I'm officially Dr. Quattro. How good is that?
Yeah, it's brilliant. Dr. Quattro. It's got a ring to it, hasn't it?
It does.
Now, believe it or not, I am sat here with my singles of 48 Crash and Daytona Demon, and the B-side of which is Roman Fingers, which I thought could have been a single itself.
It could have been, and Mike Chapman said that too.
Right. But these days you go to iTunes or whatever and download. And so is that change in the physical form relevant to musicians? And do you think that we've perhaps lost something without that physical disc?
Well, we're dinosaurs in a way. I mean, this is how the world is. Sure, it's different. I prefer to physically have it, but this generation, they don't do it that way. So they don't do it that way. End of story. The only thing that I think has affected the music business in a very negative way is all the reality shows. I don't think it's been healthy whatsoever. I just don't. I think it's made people come into the business to be famous instead of coming into the business for the love of what they do, which is a whole different attitude.
I think you're right, and I think it takes away that sort of the fact that you do have to have hard graft to make it in the music industry, rather than just a lucky break to go on a reality TV show.
Well, you see these people nobody's ever heard of before. One day they're a waitress or a waiter, and the next day they're on this TV show seen by millions with a production that even bona fide big stars don't get. Now, how can that be called a reality show?
Yeah, it's absolutely as detached from reality as you can get, isn't it?
No, that is an unreality show. That's not how it works.
I love your website. There's so much on it, including merchandise of caps, mugs, your novel, The Hurricane. But there are also several video clips of you reading your poetry. Is that something that you still write? Is it always with you?
Oh, yes. I've always been a lyric-minded person. Bob Dylan is probably my biggest hero, but even that, I've always read poetry, and I've always done poetry from a very early age. I'm told that I speak in poetic phrases. Whenever I'm with anybody creative, they're always writing down what I've said. So it's just, I guess I'm a very word person. I'm good with words.
Again, people need to go to that website and just go to the poetry page and listen to some of those poems. Wonderful stuff.
Thank you.
Now you're timeless almost in terms of your performances, your musical output. So what do you do to keep your energy levels up to manage? Because you've got a grueling schedule a lot of the time as well.
I'm lucky that I was born with lots of energy. My mom always said I drove her crazy. She used to say to me, why don't you go chase yourself around the block? I'm just this side of hyper. I'm going to be 70 in June. I've still got the same energy. I don't know why. That's just the way the Lord built me. And I can go for 2 hours and on stage. And as my husband says, you're not even out of breath. So, it can be a curse because I can be exhausting, but I think it's a blessing.
I would say it's a blessing, yeah. Now, your career has been phenomenal musically, as I'm sure all of our listeners are aware. But you've also played a character in Bob the Builder. You've appeared in Happy Days, Minder, more recently Midsummer Murders, and as a guest judge on Australian Idol. So what's next for Suzi Quatro? Is it all music or are there other things you're going to venture into?
Well, we are going to make a movie of my life now. We're working on the script as I speak because the documentary made such a huge splash. So we're now doing a movie. So that's on my bucket list big time. And I'm very hands-on with this. I'd like to do some more acting. I enjoy it very much. So I'm hoping a few roles will come my way. I've made this album with KT Tunstall, which we yet to have to schedule a release for that. I'm in the studio writing some more stuff with my son, and I'm going to be working on this album with my daughter. So no, I'm not slowing down yet. And it's not all music. But I have to create. This is the key to my character. I have to create. It's like breathing to me.
It's certainly a huge list of things coming ahead, and for all Suzi Quatro fans out there, we've got plenty to look forward to. We're out of time now, sadly. I could have gone on the talking all day, but the radio station dictates otherwise, unfortunately.
There you go.
It's been absolutely wonderful having you on, Suzi, and I wish you all the best with your project.
Thank you very, very much. Nice to talk to you.
Yeah, and we're going to play out with I think it was your latest single, and this is Heart on the Line.
Get your hanky out. You're going to cry.
Fantastic. Thanks, Suzi.
Bye.
You don't know what you put me through. It's been hell. Trying to talk to you. Lies are weak, so it's truth I'll speak. Under your spell, I've been an empty shell, and it was my heart on the line. It was my heart all the time. All those dreams I thought were mine, miles away, and it was my heart on the line. It was my heart all the time, like a poem that's lost its rhyme, miles away, miles away, miles away. I was blind, too blind to see. I gave you everything. You denied to me, and it was my heart on the line. It was my heart all the time. All those dreams I thought were mine, miles away. You're miles away, miles away.
You've been listening to the Arts Show podcast with Mike Madden. Come back soon for more artists, authors, musicians and anyone else connected with the arts. we're going to play out with Mike Sanchez and I Don't Stand a Chance.
Baby, you hiding something that you don't want me to know, because I'm getting a vibe from way down the side, like you're just about ready to go. And you can't tell me where you stayed last night, you just can't cope with treating me right. I'm on the road to heartbreak, now's the time to tell me so, because I'm getting a chill like I'm gonna be ill. I know you don't want me no more, I won't be satisfied with your little white lies. Girl, I've only just begun to realize I don't stand a chance, I don't stand a chance. You don't wanna know and I can't make you dance. Well, I've said goodbye, find yourself another guy. I wish you were mine, but I'm losing my mind. I don't stand a chance. This man on the road to heartbreak, now's the time to tell me so, because I'm getting a chill like I'm gonna be ill. I know you don't want me no more, I won't be satisfied with your little white lies. Girl, I've only just begun to realize I don't stand a chance. No, I don't stand a chance. You don't wanna know and I can't make you dance. Well, I'll say goodbye, find yourself another guy. I wish you were mine, but I'm losing my mind. I don't stand a chance, I don't stand a chance, I don't stand a chance, baby.